Greetings. Hope this finds you well. So there's a story a couple days ago of, I think it was like 30 or 34 student groups at Harvard who came out with a statement, and they said that the state of Israel was solely responsible for the attacks by, well, they said Hamas, but it was a lot of other groups, resistance groups, that during that Al-Aqsa flood back on, I think it was October 7th, so almost a week ago today. And there was a lot of outrage and backlash at this statement by these different Harvard groups, claiming that Israel was solely responsible for the violence that was then unleashed back on Israel. And if you actually have a historical context of the situation and you look at who is the obvious oppressor here, the apartheid settler colonial state of Israel, and who is the oppressed, the Palestinian people, then you can see the power dynamics that are at play and how, the state of Israel was founded on the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people, the Nakba, the catastrophe where 750,000 Palestinians were ethnically cleansed from their homes. That process has continued to today. The people in Gaza the 2 million plus people in Gaza live in a concentration camp. The state of Israel is now cut off food, water, and electricity, and is indiscriminately carpet bombing Gaza, bombing it to smithereens, collectively punishing the people there, which is a war crime. If you look at that context, the violence that is then directed back to the state of Israel is only a foregone conclusion that that type of action will be directed against them. The Palestinians have in many ways throughout the years tried to peacefully protest to bring light to their cause, Palestinian freedom struggle. Look back to 2018, the Great March of Return, and how then the Israeli snipers were indiscriminately murdering people during that march. So tried every way, but again, the oppressor chooses which form the struggle happens in, and the Israel state, the apartheid state, chooses violence over and over again, and then the oppressed will respond in violence. Violence begets more violence, and Palestinian people, morally and legally, as they have every right to resist, and that includes resisting, using violence, speaking the language of the oppressor in this case. And then also, too, this all had to do with, this statement, this factually correct statement. If you look at the concrete conditions and the history of this issue, that is obviously the correct perspective. And again, they're not saying anything inflammatory or racist or xenophobic. They're not being anti-Semitic, anything like that. Then you juxtapose that to this clip I'll show that the Gray Zone put out. One of the reporters went to a pro-Israel, Zionist demonstration. I believe this was in New York, and the Zionist people that were interviewed were using explicitly genocidal language, talking about wanting to make sure all of the Palestinians are killed and murdered. Okay, where is the doxing efforts going on against those people, right? You see how it's selective outrage. Okay, and I tried to click on the actual statement, but it's not there. It's not there anymore. But yeah, this was Cornell West on. I was just trying to. It was issued by more than 30 student groups at Harvard, many of them pro-Palestinian groups, which held quote, the Israeli regime entirely responsible for all unfolding violence. They're correct. They are correct in that. And then as a result, there was this van or this truck driving around the Harvard campus, where they were doxing these people, putting their identities out there. It's from Calla Walsh. Zionists paid for a bus to drive around Harvard Square, doxing Harvard Palestinian organizers by face and name. This is so grotesque and depraved. Stay safe, everyone. Don't let them silence you. It's pretty freaking depraved, right? For people accurately describing why the violence was happening, right? Okay, so you have that response from that very accurate and concrete statement of why that violence was happening towards Israel, towards the settler colonial apartheid state. Juxtapose that to this video I'm about to show you from the pro-Israel side, from the pro-Zionist side. I don't hear any calls to have these people's identities doxed while they're legitimately calling for genocide.
Surprise attack by Gaza militants on Israel. Israel retaliated with a punishing military assault on Gaza. Official reports say 900 have been killed in Israel and 687 in Gaza. In New York City, Palestinian and anti-Zionist activists marched from Times Square to the Israeli consulate on 2nd Avenue. Zionist protesters with Israeli flags in hand organized a counter-protest and followed the Palestinian activists across Manhattan.
The lead's gonna rain.
Look at that. Okay, where's the outrage? Where's Fox News or CNN or these other talking heads calling for these people to be doxxed, for them to face repercussion? Of course, you're not going to see that.
Groups arrived at the Israeli consulate. The police blockaded the road and fenced them onto the other side of the street. The Israeli protesters ended up outside the headquarters of Pfizer. There, the pro-Israel protesters made explicit calls for Arab genocide.
Fuck Palestine! Palestine to my dick!
What do you think the response should be from Netanyahu and the military to Gaza?
Kill all Palestinians!
Okay, where's the effort to dox this genocidal piece of garbage, right? Where's that effort? But no, the Harvard student groups who accurately released a statement saying that the violence unfolded was solely responsible for Israel, the aggressor, the occupier, the colonizer, the apartheid regime, right? No, let's dox those people who are accurately describing the situation, but not these pro-Zionist forces calling for the literal genocide of the Palestinians.
All of them! Not one left from the river to the sea. Palestine will be deceased. And Israel need to do like this. You see? Now Gaza. Like this. Gaza need to do like this. Or
wiping it off the face of the earth.
Or like this, but all this Jewish. Two options.
What do you think the response should be to Gaza?
We gotta wipe them off the fucking map. I'm talking about every fucking flatten them like a parking lot.
Yeah,
They're flattening them out once and for all.
There's nothing else you can do. They proved to us that there's nothing else you can do. We tried, and
We tried everything. It doesn't work. We have to wipe them flat off the fucking map, like a fucking parking lot.
I'm not stopping till all Arabs are wiped out.
I think now it's the time that we need to erase Gaza. There is people inside, our people inside, that kidnap, and now we need to kill all of them and free Israel. All of their belief is killing Jewish and killing and murder our people.
Flatten it. Flatten Gaza.
That will be the last war in Gaza.
This will be.
Yes, it should be.
For the Gray Zone, I'm Jeremy Alfredo.
So again, those pro-Zionist protesters were calling for further ethnically cleansing, further genocide against the Palestinian people, but you're not going to see any vans driving around trying to dox those people identities, because that is the mentality and mindset of the Israeli government. That type of mentality and mindset is what upholds Zionism, dehumanizing Palestinians and Arab people. That stuff is codified into Israeli law. Just did a video about that. Check that out. It's a settler colonial regime, and it relies on, racism to prop it up in order to dehumanize the other, in this case, Palestinians, so they can justify the continued repression, murder, torture, imprisonment, further stealing of land, taking of different resources, etc. That racism is used to justify that. So those student groups, those organizers at Harvard, completely correct in their assessment, but then they're getting that pushback, having their identities doxxed, while you have those Zionist protesters calling for genocide, but you're not going to see any effort to have their identities put out there for spewing that just very vicious and hateful and disgusting language and worldview on every level, right? From the river to the sea, Palestine.